Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. I've brought in Norm Farrar. You know Norm, he's on the other channel across the road on the internet. He always starts his show just after mine, since we've been going strong in COVID with the daily lives and stuff. Welcome back to the show, Norm. How's podcasting life for you?
It's busy.
Yeah,
I didn't know how hard it was to, come up with constant contact or
yeah,
constant, information. It's a
yeah.
lot to it.
There is a lot to it. But today we're going to be talking about off Amazon SEO. I'll
Right.
let you I'll let you lead here. There's a few areas you want to cover. Where do you want to start with this first? Is it? I mean, everyone knows how to. Oh, they think they know how to optimize a blog post, but quite a lot of people get it wrong and they're missing a few steps out. So should we cover that before we get into links and stuff like that? How
Yeah,
do you want to play?
sure. Yeah.
Cool.
So we'll start out. Content, first of all, is probably the most important thing you can
Yeah.
do with your website. And we hear about creating a website for your Amazon account to build authority or being consistent social media in this website. But how can you make it work for you? And one of them, outside of your on-site SEO, like doing all
Mm.
your pages properly, content can drive 85% of that. Uh, 80 content provides 85% of your ranking.
Yeah.
So if you do it right,
Mm.
it will help you out. And the problem is, a lot of people will hire a VA over in the Philippines, pay them $2, and they get this title that won't work. They get 350 words that is not going to work in today's SEO environment. Neil Patel said it best: if
Mhm.
you can't create the best blog article, don't create it.
I totally
And
agree.
if even if it takes you a bit more money, let's say you have to hire a higher quality blog article writer, spend it. If you only have to do it once a month, spend it. It's not quantity, it's consistency. So if you're doing it once a month, keep it once a month. But like I just mentioned, a blog article for us, we're writing 1,500 words, and then we're adding to it every 3 months. So we're getting Google, the spider, to come back and read us. We might add 250 words. We might add a little less, a little bit more, but we're doing something differently. We're adding a table. We're doing something within that blog article. Now, the format of the blog article, you have your header and your title, and that title it has to have that keyword in it.
Mhm.
Um, Now, one of the things, just like on your Amazon listing, you don't want to have that primary keyword. Let's say we're using bully sticks or spatula. You don't want to just go out and put that into the title. You should have some form of long tail keyword in there to help you rank better.
Mm.
The next thing that you want to do now, some people will say that this is a little bit different, but we were lucky, by the way. We worked with a guy named Steve Wiedemann, and he changed the complete outlook of SEO content writing for me. He's just a master at this, and had him on the podcast, and my jaw dropped. But anyways, so his structure: header, then you go into a small summary. If you have a video, you put a YouTube video embedded underneath that. I always put it down below, but he says put it up, just above or just under the summary. Get to it quickly. Now, if you don't have a YouTube video, that's fine, but it's just to keep people on the page. But one of the most important things that you can do is put in a table of contents. And if you put in that table of contents with links going down to whatever people are looking for, great. Now, the next part is the actual body. The
Yeah.
body of the blog article has to be in bite-sized chunks.
Mhm.
Don't have a long paragraph. People won't read it. They want small 2 or 3 sentences. Go to the next one, 2 or 3 sentences, and then you want to have a lot of images. Not one in a 1,500 word article. You want to add images in there, and just to break it up. It's different than a few years ago. Underneath that, you could put in a table, or you could put in bullets. You could put in 5 reasons why. And I don't want to get technical, but you put that as an H2 tag.
Mhm.
Underneath that, if you have a number, so if it's 5, you could put either bullet points, or you could put not it could be numerical.
Mhm.
Then you can add those add the information in. Now, if you add questions, by the way, if you add questions and you give the answers, that will go into, I call it the Google answer box. So one of the ways that you can check this out, let's say I'm looking for grass-fed bully sticks. I'll check grass-fed bully sticks. I'll see what comes into the answer box, and I'll see what questions are there. And I'll take those questions and I'll add them into my blog article. But I'll also see how Google picked it up. Was it in a bullet point? Was it in a sentence? Was it in a paragraph? And then I'll answer that question in my blog article with that format, because I know that's what they're looking for. That's what got the other one ranked.
Mhm.
Anyways, I'll mix that all up. I might have a comparison table in there, but it breaks things up. And you can have these tables in there, or you can have these 5 reasons why, just throughout this long content. Towards the end of it, you want to have that call to action. So if you're doing an internal link, you want to make sure that you link back to your page. You can have, and this could be anywhere within that article, maybe the second paragraph, learn more about, and you can have a link going back to your storefront. So you can do that. It's not a big deal. Also, so you can publish it. I mean, it's pretty much that simple. If anybody wants examples of what I'm talking about, all of our content is optimized on the Lunch with Norm site. So you can just see how we're doing it, and you can copy it. Something to help you out with this there's 2 apps out there. One's called Jasper.ai. A lot of people are using that. Another one is called Phrase. I like using Phrase because it gives you, if you ever used Answer the Public, you know that they kind of mind map. It goes from your keyword, and then it gives you all these different questions that people could be asking. Well, Phrase does the same thing, but it shows you the top ranking article that you can summarize and send over to your blog writer to research, and then just spin it, basically, as long as it's proper information.
Yeah.
The next step that I would create would be, if you can, a press release, but not a cheap press release. Again, this goes with the high quality content. You want a high quality press release, and that press release, it costs a few bucks. It's not a $40 press release, but I would say anywhere from $500 and up. But that press release would just have a newsworthy topic. If you've got 5 reasons why, you're talking about research shows in the newsworthy item or topic in your press release, and you can link that over to your blog article. So when you do publish the 2, they're going to get exposure on both. Anyways, I'm not going to get really in depth into press releases because that's a topic for another story.
And we've covered it as well. If Shane, I did a show with press releases, maybe with you and Shane, we might be in part 1, part 2. We've done quite a lot of in-depth. So do a search on sellersessions.com, PR or press releases with Shane or with Norm, and then you should be able to find those shows.
Yeah. And what I'm excited about, and what I've been talking about for about a year, and I still get pushback because people say it can't be done, is using Google Business Profile. It used to be known as Google My Business. So 3 to 4% of bricks and mortar businesses use Google Business Profile. That's it. There are no brands. I'm talking less than 1% of brands using Google Business Profile. So I get all these SEO guys coming back to me and saying, well, you can't do that. It's only for bricks and mortar. I keep saying, yes, you can. Check it out. Just type in Google Business Account or Google Brands Account, and it'll show you that it is 100% based on brand. Now, it's a little confusing because Google Brand Account is the exact same as Google My Business, which is the exact same as Google Business Profile. So you can just go to business.google.com, open up an account, and you can start. Now, the important issue with opening up an account is making sure that you provide the right address. Once you get verified and it's a real address, not a post office box, you won't get approved. Google will verify. You can just check a box that you don't want your address to be shown. Now, here's what you get with that. If you it depends on how much content that you put out there. Google is based on knowledge and education. That's why a lot of really good, high quality content articles rank, because it's knowledge and education. It's not a lot of promo. Well, the same thing with Google Business Profile is you can go over, you can add your information, you can add a short description, a long description. If you have hours of operation, you can add that, but you can add a ton of content. Now you create, it's just a URL. It's called an anchor URL. That anchor URL can go back to your website. It could go back to your Amazon store. It can go back to your product listing. It could go to any link that you want. But that anchor link will be what's being ranked at all times when you do Google My Business. And if you use that anchor link in, let's say, a Facebook post or an article, a blog article, it will instantly, the second it's published, it will be instantly ranked, or indexed, I should say, on Google. The more information that you put out, the better. The more information that you put out, let's say I put out that one blog article and it's posted and I have the anchor link in there. Not only will it rank, Google's going to go through there and it's going to say, oh, this is about grass-fed bully sticks. Well, even though I'm not even though I'm not targeting odorless bully sticks or 6-inch bully sticks, they have something called a clickless search. And they're saying, well, this is probably relevant to grass-fed or odorless, and it'll start ranking you for those keywords. So you don't have to do anything. It's amazing the amount of content that you put out and the amount of relevant keyword searches that you can get. You can build up a whole network. So all of this is going back either to your Amazon store or over to, whatever link that you want to. All of these posts, every single thing from a Facebook post to content to events to anything that's new can be posted in your profile, in Google Profile. So when you log into your account, one of the things, like over on the left-hand side, it could be a little bit confusing. There's probably about, 20 different buttons that you can click. The main ones would be posts, and within posts is what it says. You can add articles, you can add what's new, you can add events, you can add offers. Now let's go down to the brand part. There's an area that says products, services, category. This is what I love about it. You can take your brand, you can put it under a category. So let's say it's natural products or soap products, and I can start listing my brand, XYZ Club. Okay, so now I'm putting all of my pictures there. Did you realize that if you put 4 pictures in, one picture gets indexed, it automatically goes to Google Images and it's a shoppable link, but I can put one in there with a keyword going back to my product listing on Amazon, one to my Amazon storefront, one to my Walmart, one over to my Shopify, and I can rank for all 4 of those under my business profile. And when people search, and if you are deemed the relevant search term, anybody who has a Google Brands or Google Business Profile cannot be second. They can only be first. And if you're on a mobile phone, that takes up 3 swipes of real estate until you get to the second spot. And on your, I'm sure everybody's seen it, but on a desktop, it takes up that huge piece over on the right-hand side where you can see all this information. And also, this is another area where you can drive people to add reviews. So if you have a Shopify store, go and target them. I know we do, and drive them over for reviews. Another part if you publish anything within Google Business Profile, you're going to be given a link. That link could be put into your Gmail. That link can be published anywhere, but in the signature portion of your Gmail, I had no idea that Google indexed that. Anytime I put it in a new post, I just put it in the signature section of my email, and it's getting ranked or indexed every time I send out a Gmail. So these are just little things that I had no idea you can do. And just to give a stat, now this is bricks and mortar, but a car dealership in Seattle started working about a year or 2 years ago. They were spending $50,000 in SEO. They had a great SEO team, $50,000. It's not hard to spend $50,000 in a larger business or a mid-sized business. Their account went down to $7,000. They're ranked everywhere. And one of the things that they did was when you use Google Business Profile, you can use all of the Google tools. So what they did is every day they were updating Google Sheets, and every day the engine or the spider would come and reindex them. If they had Gmail, if they had docs that they had published, if they had Google Slides or podcast, anything Google based was being ranked and being indexed. So anyways, that in a nutshell is Google Business Profile.
Yeah, sorry, sounds good. I had my mic muted because there was a bit of background noise. We have some comments here from Facebook user. I think it's going to be Joe because there's a few of them rolling in after each other. Yeah, I think this is Joe. Joe, can you confirm if it's you? It says the most important part of creating content first is creating content that the audience is actively searching for. Every day, millions of articles are created and never read because no one is searching for the author's topic. So that's key, is it, in terms of
that's
make sure
100% correct. Yeah.
You've got to be doing your research in the background in order to find the target market and that there's some search volume there and interest to PK for people.
And Danny, one of the easiest things to do if you're working with like a company that creates content, they probably already do this.
Yeah.
But you can use tools and find out what people are looking for. You can go into Phrase and find out that. But one of the tools that we use is SEMrush. Yeah. And it will show you the volume, but it'll also show you questions and top ranked questions that people are looking for.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, looking at Quora and stuff like that can be a good indicator of the volume of questions in there in a certain timeline would be sufficient in terms of demand in other areas as well. We'll carry on. The second most important part of content marketing is distribution. As we know, you've got an agency for this now. If you're not distributing snippets across the internet, all the other places where your potential audience will see is potentially click into your content plus for instant backlinks. Obviously, there's backlinks that do follow and no follow, but still, it's still a level of driving traffic in terms of interest for your business as well. Okay, we covered that one. And what has he wrote in here? Keywords are no longer Google's primary classification for ranking and relevance. Topical relevance is more important now on Google. It's called semantic search and topical relevance. Done right, Google can determine the arrival topic without even using the keyword in your content. Do you want to follow on that, Noel? And it is Joe. He said, look, yes, it's me, brother. Good guess, Danny. And anyway, sorry. I knew it was him.
Yeah, I think, and that's exactly the same as if you take a look at how we're working with Amazon. I mean, Amazon's looking at the same relevance as what Google's doing now. Yeah. I think that actually came into play sooner with Amazon than it did with Google, I think.
Cool. So if we were to wrap here, just quickly summarize from the blog post to the Google profile, 3 to 4 key things that people should put into action from this podcast.
Okay. Content is king. Get some content going. I didn't touch on repurposing. So one of the key, one of the things that you want to do is once you spent your money and your time publishing a good quality article, how do you get the word out there? So maybe you publish it into groups. So go to a Facebook group go to a good quality Facebook group, or you can publish it on your social media. You can link that, just back to your listing. You can get the word out there. So just don't stop there. The other thing with this is if you are linking the press release to it, the same repurposing can be done with that. Don't repurpose everything at one time. You want to split it up. So if you're doing something on Twitter, you might do snippets actually on Twitter and break it up where you can just put it into a queue.
Series of tweets as well, can't you?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And just break it up like those questions or those tables, or, you could just publish them and people will come back to the blog article. And we never just repurpose once. We find that we can take that article and we can repurpose it easily 5, 6, 7 times and more. So as you're building up this content, you're also building up content for social media. The
other thing, just to butt in, Norm, sorry, quickly, repurposing is all well and good, but focused on the content first, then it's easy to repurpose good quality content because there's plenty of sound bites and options to use that content.
Just like Excel or Word, if you want to just scratch the surface, that's all you're going to get with Google Brands or Profile. Get into it a bit. Understand it. There's a lot of tutorials on it. It's free, by the way. It's free. You don't have to go to a service, but it's free to use to get going. But add content. Literally, what we tell people is 10 minutes a day. Just do it 10 minutes a day. And you'll start to see some results. This isn't a short-term play. It takes a few months to get going with this. But once you do, although it'll pay off, you'll get the indexing, or you'll start to see your Google images start to show up, and they're going to go over to your listings. And again, this is just external traffic that Amazon's going to like.
Indeed. You're shortly on the telly box on the other side shortly.
Yes.
You've got half hour or so. Best way people can reach you, tell them about the podcast. For those who are not tuned into yours, should go and subscribe Lunch with Norm. Where else should people reach you, Norm?
Yeah, they can just reach me at norm@amz.club, or just I'm on all the social media channels.
Yeah, and we should have a quick touch on the pictures you and Tim Jordan do for a private legion. Give some people some examples on the playback for the podcast. They won't understand, but you've done everything from Titanic, and you've both been dressed up. Some of the best Photoshop work I've seen in a while. Give some examples of what you do and why you do it, so people can check these out.
Well,
because again, it's all content, right?
It's content, and and it shows because it's a brand, right?
Yeah.
We have no idea what our team's coming up with. So when we see the Titanic and Tim hugging me, or when we see all these different ones that we did Star Trek this week, Starsky and Hutch the week before. I mean, they're just some crazy ones.
But I see Starsky and Hutch.
People open up the emails, and I'll give you a crazy number, Danny. Our last email that we blasted out to, I think it was 5,000 people. We had a 72% open rate.
Because they're waiting for the next.
Yes.
Because it's like a game of roulette, right? Because you two don't know what you're getting. I remember speaking to Tim. He said he pays the designer bills. So I said, I suppose you get a slight upper hand there. He said, no, he's still brutal to me as well. But that's why you're going to get the open rates, because they're waiting for, what are we going to get? Are they going to be dressed as Cheese and Chong? I mean, are they going to be like Adonises?
We were surprised. We were really surprised. We created a calendar, and we thought, let's just say that we have a calendar. And people started ordering the calendar, which I thought was hilarious.
Sorry about that. Dog was barking in the background.
No
You can tell
problem.
these are all live. Right, I'm going to shoot off now. Let you get to your show. It's lovely to see you again. Give my regards to everyone. Guys, thank you for joining us today. Don't forget, if this is your first time, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to subscribe to Norm. Sharon will be back here and tomorrow, and Isabella back Monday. Take care of yourself and your family. Much love, and I'll see you again soon.
See you later.